Hey, what's going on there? I just had to send out a little Facebook letting everybody know we're doing this because I got my Facebook page back. So I just did a little repost from you, Don, a second ago there.
Congratulations. How long did it take you to get it back, the Facebook?
7 weeks, 8 weeks. And another company had to come in and do it for me because I couldn't even do it. Nobody could get it done. And what's funny is I'm still getting those scam emails. Don, I saw you posted one too. You got hit up. I got hit up to be on the Kelly Clarkson show.
Yeah, and I got hit up to be on the Shannon Sharp show and Joe.
Me too. That was the one that took me down.
But the first clue is that I'm contacting you from Joe Rogan's management's representative's office. It's like 9 different layers of bullshit before you even read the letter.
We should tell people real quick as a public service announcement. If you ever get emails soliciting to be on famous podcasts or TV shows, it could very well be a scam, and they just want to get your emails and get into your Facebook, and then they hack you, and that's what happened to Don and me, and it sucks. But beware. Wow, scammers on the internet. What a concept, you know? Anyway, welcome everybody. Eddie, Don, and Jim here, and it's good to be back together for another episode of That Rocks. And we got a guest coming up from the last Monsters of Rock cruise. We shot some interviews, as you've been seeing, and we've got Jason McMaster, best known from Dangerous Toys, and he's going to be joining us. And all three of us will be seeing Jason and Dangerous Toys because they're on the mountain coming up, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're on it. It's going to be a good time. Jason's voice is always phenomenal. You know, he's the new fill-in guy for any band that needs a singer.
Everybody, except who else did he do?
Armored Saint.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got those dates are the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, Gatlinburg, formerly known as Monsters on the Mountain, now known as Mountain Music Festival. Tons of bands on all 3 days, and me, Don, and Jim will be there as hosts. So if you're attending, we hope to see you. It's coming up soon.
Yeah, and we're doing we got Tesla's on the bill. Who else is there? Is Queensryche on this one? Joan Jett. Why are they all escaping me now? I was just looking at it the other day. But
Aldo Nova's
on there.
My buddy Stoney's playing. Stoney Curtis is playing.
I saw that he announced that.
There's a ton. I don't have it in front of me, but it's basically Monsters of Rock cruise in the mountains in a convention center, and a great time. So hope to see everybody there for that.
In Tennessee, yeah, that's the same convention center where Vince Neil fell off the stage and broke his ribs.
Yeah, we were there.
I was right in the front row.
Yeah, Jim and I were right there.
It was pitch black, though. That definitely wasn't his fault because we were making announcements on that stage. You couldn't see anything in front of you.
Yeah, I remember that too. There was tape there, but I guess Vince didn't see it and went down. So, yeah, so it's good to be here with everybody, and I guess, before we get to our interview, we will go around the horn and whatever we want to tell you guys since the last time we were all together. For me, the most immediate thing that comes to mind was exactly a week ago, I had the incredible opportunity to see the Rolling Stones at SoFi Stadium in LA. And not only did I have an amazing chance to watch the show from the soundboard, but I actually got a tour of the stage, Keith's guitars. There I am on stage at SoFi just after the doors open. And,
nice.
That just was insane. That's the ramp that Mick was about to walk out on. I mean, surreal. That's that's the guitar and his strings. And there's also his road case of all the guitars, there's all his guitars that his tech Pierre showed me. I got to give a huge thanks to their sound man, Dave Natal, who I had on my show. He's one of the best sound men in the business. He's been mixing the Stones for 20 years, and he was basically let me shadow him and walk the stage and sit at the soundboard with him. Amazing, amazing experience, and I can't thank him enough. And, Stones have, I think, 2 more shows left. They're in San Francisco. I don't know if that happened already, but maybe it's any day. And then they've got a show in Branson, Missouri. And there's nothing else on their schedule And I've talked to a lot of people, and they all said the same thing. The Stones will never do a farewell tour or show. They'll never do that. They're just going to not play anymore when they're done. So you never know when it's done. And they were amazing, man. I mean, I didn't sit there for a minute and say, wow, I'm watching an 81-year-old guy, because he's still that good. And impossible to come up with a set list because he got a billion hits, but it was a pretty strong set list as well. And they sounded amazing, all live. And, you know, if you can see a band like that one more time, I'm so glad that I did it.
You ever see him before?
Yeah, but it had been about 20 years. I hadn't seen him in about 20 years. And, you know, my friend Dave, who does their sound, he was like, because I was not going to go because it was in LA and I was supposed to be back in Jersey. And he's like, he just kind of said, he goes, you know, you never know. He goes, you should probably make it if you can. So I was really glad that I did. I flew in, went to the show, and then flew right back to Jersey.
Yeah. Did you get to meet any of the lads?
No, you know, as soon as I got there, Dave came out and got me, and he brought me, he said, you want to get some food? And I said, sure. So we went in the band and crew catering, and, you know, it's the Stones. They got crab legs and steaks and like whatever you want. And it's not a deli tray, you know.
No.
And we went back there, and I'm sitting there eating, and a couple of the crew guys knew who I was and came over and said hello. We were just chatting. And I looked to my left, and who's there eating but Ron Wood was like right there. But, you know, I was like on the inner circle. I didn't want to be that guy and bother him or ask for a photo, so I didn't say anything. But, you know, that was pretty cool. And then went up on the stage, and I got introduced to Keith's tech, Pierre, and he showed me the guitars. And he told me that guitar that you saw in that photo, which is like the original Keith guitar, that the value on that is around $4 million if it were to be sold. It's a 5-string guitar. It's what he played, you know, all the early classics on, and just so cool. The stage show was great. Chris Robinson from the Black Crowes was there. He and I hung out the whole time, and it was great because we were like we're at the soundboard under a tent and kind of like isolated, but we also had a pass where we could go right to the front in the open pit. And about 4 songs in, Chris goes to me, "Come on, man, we got to go for the pit." So, you know, Chris was right in there, man. He was like, no rock star shit. He was like right in the pit, like full on and totally into it. Just an awesome time.
Who opened for him?
The night I went, which was exactly a week ago, it was a band I never heard of. It was called the War and Treaty or something. I had no idea who they were.
Oh, okay.
And then, because I was looking, because, you know, they have a different opening act every night. And I was hoping it would be somebody that I'd want to see, if, you know, maybe Bonamassa or Gary Clark or Pretty Reckless. But, you know, they were fine, but I just had no idea who they were. And that's the funny thing about the Stones. I mean, obviously they don't need anybody to help them sell tickets. So they'll just have these different eclectic opening acts every night. And I asked Bonamassa, who's a friend, I asked him, because he did it on this tour one time. And I was like, you know, they really don't have to pay anybody. Because who's going to say no to open for the Stones? I'm like, do you even get paid? And he's like, they pay you just enough to cover your expenses, and that's about it. Just so you can say you open for the Stones.
Yeah,
I think I heard the interview with Joe. I think he said, yeah, they pay you a stipend. He goes, right. I probably lost $5,000 on the gig.
Right.
You're not gonna say no, like you said.
But he's a huge act in his own right, so he could. Yeah, he doesn't care. He just had the opportunity to do it. Why not? You know. So look, I've seen a bunch of shows. I saw Night Ranger this past Sunday in Jersey. I've seen a ton of shows since we did this last, but obviously the Stones, because of the Stones. I mean, that was enormous.
And Night Ranger also will be at the Mountain Music Festival with us.
Yep, so. Hung out with those guys, and all buddies of ours, and always great live.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't seen any shows. I haven't seen any shows, but you know, Sammy Hagar's doing his Van Halen thing like next Saturday in Jersey.
Yeah, are
like
we
July?
going?
Yeah, July 26th, I think it is, or the 27th, or whatever it is. Yeah, definitely. So I'm excited for that.
Ed, you gonna go?
No, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be west at that time, but I plan to see him for the first time in Vegas on the day after I turn 60 on the 9th of August, and I think that's the day Jim does turn 60, right, Jim?
No, that's the day they're going to have my birthday party on the 9th. It's not to the 18th.
It's not. I thought it was your birthday was the 9th. I thought you were a day after me.
No, 10 days.
Jim and I both turning 60. Insane. Totally insane. Don's a baby. Don's a baby at like 58.
Not even 58 yet. But look at Jim with the shaved face. He's trying to look younger now.
Yeah, I might go back to it. I don't know. I shaved it off. I don't know. Eddie's growing some scruff now.
Hey, whatever, man. I got no hair left on my head, so I'll cover my face. What am I gonna do? But yeah, man, the Sammy Hagar tour. I've been taking a ton of calls on my radio show every day. People have all said super positive things, and Sammy's calling in on my Sirius XM show tomorrow to talk about it a few days in. But reports, the set list, everybody have been saying great things about it.
They're not doing all Van Halen. I thought they were going to do all Van Halen. They're doing some Sammy solo stuff. Even a Satriani song too. So
it's about 85, 90. It's about 85% Van Halen.
Yeah,
I think it's more than they originally planned, actually. And the Satch song, I think, is just to give Sammy a blow because it's an instrumental.
Yeah.
But let me, because Jim and I went last year, and it is one of the funnest summer concerts that you could see. You know, when Sammy plays with the Circle. It's basically the same exact thing, except they said told Vic Johnson to stay home and brought Joe Satriani. What was the purpose of that? I mean, obviously Vic can play those songs, perfectly as well.
Marquee value. You want to sell a tour, man. I mean, it's competitive out there. Satch is a household name guitar hero, and I don't think it's the same though, Don, because sure, they always did maybe 40, 50% Van Halen. This is like 85%. There's songs in here he hasn't done in a really long time. So this was more Van Halen than I thought it was going to be, because initially they told me, I did a big special with them for this tour, and they told me it was going to be a look. They were going to do Montrose, they were going to do Chickenfoot, they were going to do Zeppelin. This is way Van Halen heavy. It's not David Lee Roth Van Halen heavy, because it's only 2.5 Roth era songs, but it's way Hagar Van Halen heavy, more so than I thought. So that, and then obviously the name value of Satch coming in playing that stuff, I think was important.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was already a great summer concert. I can't wait for next week too. So that's cool. We'll be doing some tailgating next week, Jim.
Yeah.
What else you guys have coming up as far as shows? Anything else on your schedule?
Yeah, well, Tom Kiefer's is playing at Starland Ballroom a couple days before that. I'm gonna take my son to go see Limp Bizkit playing at PNC like Tuesday, July 30th.
Is Luke into them?
Yeah, he knows every song, so it'll be a good time. Corey Feldman's opening. I can't wait.
I had him on my show a couple years ago. He played at this event that I co-host every year called The Sands in Cancun. It's coming up again in November, and I had him on my show, and I saw him perform there. I didn't know he was out with Limp Bizkit though.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. And Jim's already taught his son how to pee in the parking lot and not be seen while we're tailgating. So he's already a professional at age 12.
I'm looking forward to Rocklahoma. That's coming up Labor Day weekend. I'll be hosting that again. So I got a real busy August. I'm hosting the Iron Maidens in Tulsa on the 3rd of August. So a lot of good stuff going on. And talking about summer tours, I don't know when I'm going to catch this. I mean, I just did both of their cruises, obviously, but talking to people in the business, the biggest tour in terms of like interest and attendance that's about to start, I think it starts tonight, maybe even, is Creed. I mean, whether you like Creed or not, Creed, from a pure ticket selling standpoint, outside of like the Stones or something, Creed is like the thing, like as far as doing crazy business. They've been away for 10 years and sold, you have a couple records that sold 10 million copies or whatever. People are coming out in droves for that.
No, it's the same thing with Limp Bizkit. They were away for 10 years. They did a couple sporadic gigs here or there. And people whatever people thought of those bands back then, to give enough time to go away, they come back and everyone's like, nah, man, it was just good music,
Yeah.
Same with like a Nickelback too. Nickelback is the same thing. Caught a lot of shit, and they're all actually okay to go see again. Nobody's like, that's not a punchline anymore.
Yeah, I saw I saw Adler. I saw Steven Adler at Starland Ballroom a couple weeks ago, and that's always fun. You know how excited Steven gets when he sees an old friend. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, so yeah, he got very excited, and he asked me to introduce the band, and I got to sit up next to him while he was playing drums, which was really a lot of fun. And him, he, no matter what kind of chaos is going on in his life. And I think there's video of it, Joe. He just smiles the entire set nonstop. He's just relentlessly having a good time, that guy.
And I think he's playing great too. Every time I see him, I think he's playing great. Like I really don't understand why Guns N' Roses could not let him play more. Remember they were yo-yoing him in and out, letting him play like a song, flying him to Brazil to do 2 songs. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, look, even if he's a little off tempo, and I don't know if he is, nobody in the audience is picking up on that. They'd much rather see the guy than be like, well, he didn't do the right cymbal crash. I mean, I think he's playing great. And I love watching him play. And he's clearly doing full sets with his own bands and clubs. There's no reason why he couldn't do 5-6 songs with GNR.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so happy.
Yeah, always. It's the best.
But he, Ed, that's true. When Guns, sort of gave him a little bit of a spotlight on when they first came back, and he went to Argentina and played, I think, 1 song. But that's where he met Ari, who's the singer for his band, he is Axl Rose straight out of 1987. Phenomenal voice.
Well, he came from a Guns N' Roses tribute. It's not that far removed from like the Arnell Journey thing, but this is a case where he's actually looking like him too, and moving like him, which is different than what Arnell does. I've seen him many times. That guy can sing.
He sang "Patience" a cappella. I mean, it was really impressive.
The other tour we should talk about that's actually really big that I'm getting a lot of calls about is the Journey Def Leppard tour. Which, of course, is the second time these guys have done this. They did this like 5 years ago. And everyone's calling into my show every day on Sirius XM. And people have seen it so far, raving about it. And Def Leppard did something pretty cool where they put in some real deep tracks from Pyromania, like Die Hard the Hunter and Coming Under Fire, stuff that they've never played live. So I thought that was great to see that they went a little deep on a few songs.
Yeah, it seems like they didn't, like last summer with that whole was it last summer the stadium tour with those guys? With all of them?
A year or two ago?
Yeah, okay, yeah. They had like 5 new songs that weren't really going over with the crowd. I think they just have 1 in there now from like the last album they put out. Yeah. Or in that 1 song they did with Morello, they're doing 2. But yeah, a lot of deep tracks, which is great. Yeah, they're playing like 7 or 8 songs off of Pyromania.
Yeah, they put out this 40th anniversary special edition, which I actually have right over there, and it's surround sound and all that. So I think even though it's past 40 years, I think they're still kind of like marketing that a little bit. But I thought that was really cool that they made those changes to the set because let's be honest, Def Leppard has toured every year for like 20 years now. So it's good for them to change it up. But the problem is they got so many hits, you can't leave those on the table either. And you can't play all night, obviously. I mean, I saw that firsthand with the Stones. I mean, I walked out of there. I'm like, oh, my God, I would love to heard this. But what are you going to do? The guy's 81 years old. He's going to be up there for 5 hours. You can't do it all.
Who's headlining that, Journey or Def Leppard?
Flip-flops.
Okay.
And then the third spot is
Steve Miller Band.
Either Steve Miller or Cheap Trick has done a lot, too.
Yeah.
Depending upon the city.
Yeah, I think when the closest they're playing by us is Citi Field, and I think that's Steve Miller, which I got nothing against him, but I would much rather see Cheap Trick, and I was hoping to go see Cheap Trick at the Garden with Hart, but now Ann Wilson is out for the rest of the year with a cancer diagnosis, so that sucks, but hopefully she'll be better.
Yeah, and of course the other tour, we're just talking about shows and stuff, is finally, fingers crossed, starting in September, Aerosmith will finally try to get through more than 2 shows when they start up again. And Black Crowes are going to remain in the opening slot on that. I was talking to Chris about that last week when I saw him, and Crowes are going to do an hour. Aerosmith will then play, and they plan to still do all the dates. And then Aerosmith's only going to play like 2 or 3 times a week. So the off days, the Black Crowes the other day announced that they were they're going to do headline shows out of the markets. So everyone's kind of hoping that the Aerosmith stuff comes off. All the early reports I'm hearing is that it should be fine and Steven's good. And if you saw, Tyler got up with the Black Crowes in England and did Mama Kin and killed it. He looked and sounded great. So Chris told me when I saw him on Wednesday that the day before he had dinner or lunch with Tyler. He says he's doing great. Everybody feels like they're going to be able to pull this off. So I hope so.
Yeah, that's good, because Aerosmith was like the Brett Favre of that last tour. The season just gets started and they were down and out. So hopefully they can make it through the full season this time around.
Yeah, and if they do, maybe they'll even add some shows. I don't know, but I'm hoping that it goes off smoothly. They're going to start in Pennsylvania again, same place where they started last time, and it's a lot of shows, but it's very spread out, so it's going to go for a long time because Tyler wants at least 2 days off between gigs for recovery.
And Joey Kramer, right? He's officially out. Yeah.
It's going to be John Douglas, who played with them last time, who was his drum tech, and great guy. I mean, it sucks because Aerosmith's one of the few bands that has all original members, but I don't think Joey's going to be able to pull it off. But it's a great bill with the Black Crowes, who I love, and the Black Crowes' new album, Happiness Bastards, candidate for album of the year for me. I think it's an amazing record, so I'm psyched to see them always.
Have you heard it, Jim? You're a Crowes fan.
No, I haven't heard it. No.
Oh, there's a song on that record called Rats and Bastards, the second song on the record. So kick-ass. It's so good.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll check it out, definitely. And then what about the anything on AC/DC coming to the States? Are you hearing?
Not that I've heard, no. I mean, I think they're probably going to figure out, how they're feeling after all this and if they're going to add shows and do it. I mean, I've not heard one way or the other. I don't think they would do like a full tour of the U.S. If they do shows, and I'm just speculating here, just knowing, their age and how they're doing it in Europe, I bet you they pick like the 10 biggest cities like New York, Chicago, LA, Dallas, whatever, and just roll into stadiums there. I doubt you're going to see a band at that point do like 100 shows in the U.S. or even 40. I think it's going to be like big markets, stadiums, 5-6 dates, something like that. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel it would be if they do it. But I think they're probably just trying to go step by step. And let's be honest, they're not going to need a ton of time to sell the shows. You put up an AC/DC show, it could sell out in a week.
That's true.
Back in Black just went past 26 million in the U.S. alone. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta. If you're gonna do East Coast dates in stadiums, you got to get it done by like October, because then it gets cold. So yeah, they could put those shows on quick if they wanted to. I'd sell quick.
Have you heard, Ed, anything about, I see like Taylor Momsen posting, about being out with him and all that stuff. I haven't heard any, sort of buzz or anything or any kind of reviews about how the shows are actually going. Like, how are they sounding? Is it, same as ever, or what have you heard?
I saw some footage and it looked good. I think they cut like 3 or 4 songs. They were doing like 24 to down to like 21 or 20. That was the last I heard. They might have added them back in, but they cut like 3 or 4. It might have been just too much for them. They said, listen, man, this, and it was some obscure, like Dog Eat Dog, I think and Riff Raff, stuff like that they cut out.
Yeah, I saw him at Power Trip, and it was a long set. It was over 2 hours. And, that's around where you'd want AC/DC to be. But again, you're dealing with the front man, 76, 77 years old, trying to work a stadium football length field. Stage. It's crazy. So I was not surprised if they cut it down a little bit. But most of what I've heard has been positive, and I've not heard anything really negative. Obviously they've got a different rhythm section because you got Chris Chaney playing bass and that same drummer they used on Power Trip. So, that's unfortunate that Cliff Williams isn't doing it and Phil Rudd isn't doing it, but those guys are pros and, let's be honest, the show's about Angus and Brian, and they're holding up pretty well from what I hear. It's just going to come down to how they're feeling, if they're going to add more. Sammy Hagar said on my show, because I think this tour is 40 dates, and he said to me, I said, are you going to do more? And he said, I'd love to add more. He goes, but I'm not going to add more until I get about halfway through this and see how I feel and to make sure I can still do it at a good level. Because, the guy's about to be 77. So, it's amazing what some of these guys are able to do at that age. I mean, again, Jagger's like uncharted territory right now. I mean, nobody's seen anything like this. And people have said to me, there's other guys like Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson isn't dancing across a stage for 2 hours.
A stadium
the length of a football field. Yeah, it's insane.
He doesn't leave the stage if sometimes Keith will sing 1 or 2 songs. Other than that, he's out there the whole time.
Yeah, Keith did a 3-song set where he sang. It was maybe 10 minutes total. And then Jagger came out and they went right into Sympathy for the Devil. And there he is dancing around in his devil outfit or whatever. It's just... It's freakish. It's just bizarre. And I said this on the air, you don't ever sit there and be like, they're old, but when you're watching them, you don't ever for a minute say they're old because they don't act or look like physically old. If you're up close, yeah, whatever. But it defies all logic. It really does.
It's funny, man. I remember probably 20, 30 years ago. The Stones, they're old. They wear diapers on stage. They're in their 50s.
Tour.
Yeah, they're in their 50s. How could they ever tour? What are they still doing out there? You're going to see a bunch of old men. Cut to 25 years later, every band's out there that can still do it.
Yep.
And nobody's saying that about bands that they're too old. But that was always the joke. Remember? Yeah.
The Steel Wheelchair Tour was, I think, like Jay Leno said that on the Tonight Show, like in the early 90s. And it's like, and it's always right. We always say it's not about that they're still doing it. They're still doing it at a high level. It's not that they're just out there stealing money, like, some bands who've been in the news lately. But the Stones are actually giving you, if you've never seen them in your whole life and you go see them today, you're still going to see a great show.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said the same thing about age. It's like, I don't care if you're 110, if you're still good and it's live and you're not lip syncing and running tracks and it's just not a recording, then great. Do it till you drop. The only way you should stop is if you're destroying your legacy because you're not good anymore. That's why I got a lot of respect for what John Bon Jovi's doing right now. He's got vocal problems. He said, I'm not going out until I can figure this out. If I can't figure it out, I'm not going to destroy my legacy. That's admirable. I mean, but the problem is when you get to like the club levels, some of those guys can't afford to stay home. Bon Jovi's got $1 billion. He doesn't have to work in 10 lifetimes. So the problem what comes into play, these guys that, there's people that think, who was it that just said, I think it was Michael Sweet and Stryper, he goes, it's funny, fans have this impression that if we made videos back in the 80s or we made records, we're all loaded. Because it's not the case. So everybody operates at a different level, and you feel for those guys that have to work. They are 65, 70. They got to get in a van. They got to go play at a club on a Tuesday night to 100 people. They got to sell some T-shirts to make money. But they got to do it because otherwise they don't have a way to pay their bills, It can be a tough business on people like that.
Eddie, what's the drummer's name from AC/DC? He's got a funny name, right? Is it Matt?
Well, Matt Laug, but you guys are saying Log. But it's actually like Laug.
It's Log. It's Log.
Beavis and Butthead over here.
You got any picks? You got any picks? Yeah. You got anything that rocks laying around there? Jim, you got anything?
Well, all right. Well, yeah, I can. Yeah, actually, I do. Now that you say it, I got a stack right here. I didn't even plan for this, but it's worked out perfectly. So, you want to go first, Jim?
No, I don't have anything yet.
I'll go first. Give a shout out to our friends Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. great young band, blues based, roots rock. If you're into that kind of sound, this album, it's, once again, these guys kill it, man. Grant Whitford's son playing guitar in this band. If you need a little star power to entice you, but Tyler he's the Jeff Beck of a new generation. This album's great, and I'll throw in as a bonus, they did a little almost like an Aerosmith live bootleg thing, Eddie, live from '79, where they just basically play in front of like their crew and a few people, and they recorded it straight for vinyl. And the cool thing is they have their own record label, Rattleshake Records, so they can put out albums whenever they want, however they want. They can put out 2 at a time, 3 at a time. They're not they're not handcuffed by the traditional record company model. So both those albums, great stuff from those guys, and I really dig them.
I actually had Tyler on when they did that live record, and for people that don't understand what they did, they literally recorded live to vinyl.
Yes.
There was no way you could mess up. It was literally cut to vinyl as they played. There's a film about it. It's worth checking out. As people know, I'm not a vinyl guy, but I respect the fact that they flew by the seat of their pants and did something like that. It was very, very cool. So I haven't heard the new record yet, but I have to check it out. But that live record, I remember when they did that. I got a few things I'll share with everybody. So this is the new Slash record.
That's the blues record, right?
What's that?
That's the blues record?
Yeah, Orgy of the Damned. And it's a lot of cool covers. Some blues, some not so much. But like the Steppenwolf song, The Pusher, with Chris Robinson on vocals. There's some really cool, different stuff on here. He's currently out touring behind it. A little different, but very cool. A lot of cool guests on it. This is a band from the 80s that I love their debut album, No Respect. They've just made a new record. It's called Disintegrate Together. The band is called Vane. Just raw, glammy, killer hard rock. The people have complained to me that they can't get this anywhere except for physically on CD from the Vane website. It's not streaming. I don't know, but I know it's great. Sebastian Bach's new album is killer, Child Within the Man. And check out the video for Freedom on YouTube. I'm in it. And I mentioned this before. This is Happiness Bastards from the Black Crowes. Incredible record. So those are some of my favorites. And for those that have cassette, here's Sebastian's album, yes, on cassette.
Yeah, just write in the comments your address. Eddie will mail it to you.
Yeah, because I will not be using it.
You got
they're trying to push those cassettes to come back. They've been doing it for the last 2 or 3 years. No one's biting on it. Stop.
I just had press releases for 2 new records today coming on cassette as well. It's so funny, and people
nobody cares
for loving CDs. It's stop, please.
People will still buy the CD, they'll buy the vinyl, but the cassettes are never going to catch on again. Let it go.
No, because the sound quality is terrible. Yeah, well, the 8-tracks too, same thing. Both have terrible sound quality. I mean, I'll take the CD if it comes as part of the cassette if it comes as part of a bundle, and I'll display. It'll be little piece of artwork, but to listen to it is ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, whether you listen to vinyl or CDs, I listen to both. That the sound quality is just so much better. So
that's why I almost wonder if I did, because I do have my cassette player over there. I almost wonder if I put this on, would it actually play the record, or is it just tape in the sleeve, in the shell, and it's not even really on there because nobody's ever going to really play it.
Right? No, nobody's figured it out yet that there's no music on any of these cassettes.
It's like if you have a gold or platinum record, which I have some back there behind me, people can see. The big scam with gold and platinum records back in the day, which those are old, is that if you looked, the record that was in there, one of those is say for Anthrax, Among the Living, right? The actual record in the frame is not an Anthrax record. It could be a band that never made it. They just used it. And the reason why that got exposed back in the day was because, say side 1 of Among the Living has 5 songs on it, people would count the band to see the number of songs. It would have 6 or 4. I'd be wait, it can't be that record. So
wow,
the record companies were just going and finding old records that nobody bought that they couldn't give away and dipping them in gold and sticking them in the frame.
That's funny. Well, cool.
Jim, you
we should
got
probably
any picks?
I don't have any picks, but Eminem's new record, he mentions Special Ed, the character I did on Crank Yankers.
Nice.
In one of the songs is one of the lyrics.
What song? What's the song?
Evil. The song's called Evil.
All right. We'll have to listen to that.
You
All right,
ever
should we
meet
get-
him, Jim?
Yeah, we did prank calls together.
With Eminem?
Yeah, in the studio. Yeah, in 8 Mile.
Oh, wow.
And then we did the music awards, the MTV Music Awards back in like 2003 or 4. We did a whole bit like on stage where he was beating up my puppet and shit. I've hung with him a bunch of times.
Hey, we should mention real quick, for what it's worth, our old show, That Metal Show, is apparently a caller called my radio show and told me this, and I told you guys. Apparently, there are episodes available on Apple. If you have Apple TV, you can rent about 14 episodes that are up there, scattered random episodes. It's like, again, we have nothing to do with this. We have no control over it. We have nothing at all. But apparently, they're like $2.99 to rent if you have Apple TV, and apparently they're in HD now, which is crazy because we used to always get hit because we never were in HD back in the day. But I don't know what that means. I don't even know how they went up there. I would have thought that if Viacom, who owns them, made a deal, they would have put them on Paramount Plus, which is the streaming thing they own. Maybe one day they will. But I just throw that out there because if anybody never saw the show or wants to watch some old episodes, it's the only way I know anything's at least legally available. And, who knows, if catches enough traction, maybe we'll all get checks for more than 3 cents.
Yeah, maybe we'll get 10-cent checks.
So they must have upgraded them to HD because they weren't shot in HD.
Yes, they were.
The last couple seasons were?
No, everything but the first 2 seasons was shot in HD.
But
the problem was VH1 Classic was never aired in
That's
HD.
right. Right, okay.
So all they had to do was just our streaming looked way better than on the TV because it was shot that way.
So if they were going to go back and release more, they probably wouldn't release the first 2 seasons since it's not in HD.
I mean, who cares? It would just be squared off if people really wanted to see them. But I don't know what the criteria was like for what the ones they picked, or like I emailed the one person left over there that I know and they didn't respond. So I have no idea. Like, and we're not joking. We all get royalty residual checks, and no joke, they are literally like 3 cents, 4 cents an episode. So here, look, here's some of them right here.
Yeah, I got one for 1 cent once.
The reason why these are all here is because I don't even bother cashing them because they don't total 50 cents. I had the most recent ones came in the mailbox this big. I took the whole stack of envelopes and I gave them to my daughter, and I told her, I said, that's all money in there. Those are all residuals from my TV show. You open all of them and you can keep all the money in there. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. She's rifling through the envelopes. She goes, Dad, these checks are for like 3 cents. I go, yeah, it's all yours. Have a party. Go crazy. So I saddled them with her. The postage is way more than the check.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now Viacom won't be able to balance their books because you won't cash 50 cents worth of checks.
They'll have to figure it out. Sorry, Sumner. But didn't he die?
All right.
Is he still alive?
Sumner Redstone? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is he? I think he's like.
He's not running the company anymore. His daughter Shari is or something. But I think they just sold it too. So.
You think he had any idea who we were when we were on the air?
I don't think so.
He's running around with 20-year-olds. That guy.
Exactly.
I know.
He's 90 with 20-year-old chicks. He's like Bill Belichick. He's Bill Belichick of the TV world.
Yeah.
Should we get to Jason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then we'll come back on the other side. Eddie, I don't think you can, but Jim and I will come back on the other side.
Yeah, I got to run, but good seeing everybody, and thanks, and we'll see you next time.
We're here with frontman extraordinaire.
Wait, is that running?
Yes, it's running. Ed, be a professional here. We're live on television right now.
Can it Corey Apple?
Yes, I can Corey Apple with Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys and so many other wonderful projects. How's the cruise going for you?
This might be my favorite one so far. I don't say that every year.
What was your least favorite one?
Here we go. Here we go. No, I think that it kind of speaks for itself. I believe that the powers that be kind of got it together this time to create such a legendary group with KK and
Ace, except.
Well, yeah, the bands, but there's legendary people, Glenn Hughes and KK Downing and
Steve Harris.
Ace Frehley and Steve Harris and
Satriani.
you get it. So how are they going to top this? Is my point.
I think this one is the most diverse in terms of within being in rock,
Yeah.
because you got like the Darkness, which is a little newer than most of the stuff.
Yeah.
Who I'd never seen before, and I was like shocked. I loved them. I couldn't believe how good they were. I had no idea like how the energy and how like they're more like AC/DC than they are anything. I was surprised.
Yeah.
So they were, but then you got some heavier stuff that you normally wouldn't have, like Accept and KK. So it's a good balance around all the other things that you usually get. So
This is Accept's first time.
yeah, they tried to get them, but this is the first time they got them.
Right. And I think it's a breath of fresh air to have Accept on here because even though, when you think about Accept, you think that they're this heavy metal, and they're a heavy metal band, but there's also an element of rock and roll to their stuff, and where they're coming from is very rock and roll. I mean, their first couple of records were rock and roll and 145. Older songs like Burning and I'm a Rebel, those are just anthemic rock and roll songs, and then it turned into this angular thing, right? And plethora of rock and roll information, and then became heavy metal, I believe, with a band like Accept. And yeah, I mean, they're one of my favorite bands. Armored Saint, one of my favorite bands. Ace Frehley, of course. KK with the Priest, of course. And it goes and goes and goes. It's been, like I said, I think it's my favorite one so far.
How's it going for you with Dangerous Toys?
Super happy. I think our time slots. I don't complain. I feel extremely blessed and lucky to be invited to play this kind of stuff. At any, invited to someone's birthday party. I'm like, you want me to be your birthday party? As the clown, of course. Our time slot, early day yesterday, I didn't know what to expect because it's noon, 12:30. Somebody's got to play that slot.
Sure.
Right? Sure.
Yeah.
And we still had a really good turnout, and the energy was high, and it was so much fun. And my jokes were good, or I thought they were.
Most important.
Yeah, and right. And then our pool stage, it was just hot as hell. It was just so hot. I thought it was going to burst into flames. I talked to Jizzy from Quiet Riot, and they had the same slot the next day. And I was like, dude. He's like, dude. And so I could see everybody struggling.
That's how rock stars talk to each other.
Just dude.
Yeah,
So
Just
anyway,
a different inflection.
Yeah.
right.
And it's understood.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
well,
hot as a bitch up there.
It's not what the lyrics mean or what the lyrics are. It's the inflections that make the hook.
That's right.
So it's
What's,
been great.
what's going on with you musically? Obviously, beyond this, obviously Dangerous Toys, but you actually sang a guest spot for Accept at one point, right?
And Armored Saint.
And Armored Saint. So you actually guested. Are you on
It-
here?
That's
really?
why he's
As-
on,
Yeah, you on here really as a bullpen guy if needed. They
No,
just keep
I-
you in your cabin. You're not supposed to be seen, and then if the red light goes off, Jason, come on, we need you.
Well, two of my favorite singers are John and Mark. So when you kind of think about the balls those guys have and just how important personalities they are to metal and hard rock history. The fact that they're both on a boat together and people love those bands is great. But no, I'm not here as the backup guy. It just kind of was a fluke that happened. That was already over a year ago now. When you think about it, that was in 22.
And have you gotten the call from any other bands that you could not do? Because we know you didn't accept an Armored Saint. But you have
For
to
people
turn-
that don't know the story, Jason was brought in when there was an issue, I don't know, health or whatever, with Mark.
Correct.
In Accept, and he came in like on very little notice and sang the set.
Zero notice.
And then with Armored Saint, the same thing for John Bush. So
Like a month later.
yeah. So he's like the bullpen guy whenever. But no, that's a testament to you, man, and your versatility and ability as a singer. That you're the go-to guy for that on gigs that aren't easy to do, obviously.
Ladies
Well,
and gentlemen,
just
welcome
showed up.
Jim Florentine.
Jim Florentine.
nice.
Yeah. What's up, dude?
What's going on? I want to hear your answer on this one.
Okay, so what was the question?
I don't remember.
yeah.
About
Was
just
there-
having the versatility to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's really a nice compliment to you, I would think.
Well, I'm first and foremost, as you guys well know, I'm just a fan. Before anything, we're all just fans of what it is that we're talking about here. So to be even on the list, long or short, the thing is, when I talked to Wolf Hoffman and I got comfortable with him about the situation, I was like, well, can't you get, Bobby Blitz, or can't you get Ripper, or can't you get, and there's like this list of all these badasses that it seems like they would have just been able, friends of Mark's, that they could have just gone. Mark could have gone, get Bobby here, get da. They were all unavailable. Bobby was in the studio, Ripper was in Australia. They thought about getting Sebastian. I don't know why they didn't. And I was just referred to them, and then later on it turned out that some of the guys in Accept, Philip Schaus and Christopher Williams, they kind of knew my work. And so they were like, oh yeah, that guy, yeah, get that guy. And luckily I was available, because it seemed like other people that they could have just, that were in the States while they were touring the Eastern Seaboard. I don't know who. Obviously, no one else was available.
Yeah,
They
but
just-
do you know that for a fact though? Because your
Yeah.
AC/DC style voice, Accept,
Yeah.
that fits Accept more than I think Ripper does.
Yeah.
I mean, Blitz could probably pull it off, but I think your
I think
voice,
Blitz would have been great.
right? What do you think, Blitz singing Accept, Eddie?
I don't know, man. I think that's tough. Look, I'm not a singer, I'm not a musician, but to me, that's really tough to do, and I don't
To
know.
fit that style.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing what Mark does doing the Udo stuff.
Yeah.
So, I
Well,
don't
it's a
know.
perfect fit now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Stylistic.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I don't know. I think it's a short list of people that would. I don't think that could do it, but to capture like the grit, the gravel, and Accept.
Yeah.
That's just.
Yeah.
There's a snarl element to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mark actually canceled this morning for the interview, so we had.
Well, the real story
had you
is.
fill in
Oh, okay,
for this
awesome. So
interview.
filling in Mark.
Yeah, you're
for Mark
filling in
today.
for Mark today.
The real
You're
story.
kidding, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The real story is, if you go see Accept or Armored Saint, you're really hearing Jason because he's under the stage with the microphone, and they're just miming to his voice.
Not true.
Yeah.
In the Armored Saint thing, I asked Joey, I'm like, so couldn't you, I'm so happy to be here with my brothers and doing this, because I've known the Saint family forever, been a fan forever. And they were going, no, there wasn't, it was just you. It was like there was one person that John says called Jason, and that's what they did.
And I saw
So,
one of the shows in
amazing.
New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you crushed it.
Thank
really
you
great.
very much.
But if you think about it, being an old school guy, we all remember the time when if a singer couldn't sing a gig, the show was canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Nobody leaves the guarantee on the table anymore. Everybody has to have, whether it's guitar players, drummers. I'm going to bring the bass tech in, or I'm going to bring the guitar tech in, or I'm going to find a singer to sing the set. Because nobody wants to cancel the show, nobody wants to lose the date. I
Right.
get it,
Right.
And you
Well,
hope that the fans come along for the ride on that cancellation that night. What was the fan reaction like when you came out?
Okay, so when I go see a band, one of my favorite bands, I don't want to see, when I go see Armored Saint, if it's not John Bush, I'm going to be pissed.
So were you? So you're worried about walking out and seeing people pissed?
So
He
it
was
the
mad
same-
at himself.
It was the same, right. And gave myself black eyes on the way out. It was the same with
Jason McMaster.
It was the same with Accept too. When I go see Accept, I want it to be what's on the record, right? And not some asshole from Texas. And I'm telling these guys this. We're on the bus, and I'm going, my nerves are getting the best of me, and I'm telling these guys, and those guys are going, you need to get off of that and just go have fun with this. You're saving our ass. And it put it in perspective for me in a different way, because they didn't have to cancel. They were able to pay their bills. The crew didn't have to call their wives and go, I'm coming home. It's over. Have to play catch up at some point, as just you wouldn't have been able to do it. The promoters would have backed out, right?
How many did you do with each band?
I did 4 with each. With Accept, I did only 1 show fronting by myself, and that was in somewhere in Pennsylvania. It was in Pennsylvania, and it was no rehearsal. The sound check was the rehearsal. I was looking at pieces of paper on the floor. I was singing songs I didn't know. It was just like, here goes nothing.
And didn't you say that you didn't have you wanted to put your readers on, so you couldn't really read the?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm half
right?
blind too, so I'm having to, you know what I mean. It's like there was a few haters. To answer your question, long-winded, there were a few haters. Those are people going, no, and like the front row going like this, and I just have to mow over them and not really worry about it. But you know what? For the most part, everyone was really gracious and really cool about it. But the next night, somewhere in New Jersey or New York, I don't recall at the moment. Mark was. I heard that Mark was coming back. I was actually in a bunk on their bus, and my phone buzzed, and I opened it, and Mark's coming back. And this was the next day. Mark's coming back, and oh my God, it'll be great. And there was a statement from Mark going, I'll be there tonight. No. And I stuck my head out of the curtain of the bunk, and Uva is right there, and I go, am I going home? And he said, no, let me talk to you for a second. Mark's not 100%. So we're going to work on a set list that uses both of you, the utility.
A little hybrid.
And something was very special about the next 3 shows where I got to share the stage with Mark. We would do a couple songs together. Mark would come out and do like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And then he'd invite me out. We'd do one together. And then he would leave and go spit up some loogies and get right, because he wasn't 100%. He was still sick.
Sure.
And I would do a couple of old Udo tunes or whatever, and then he'd come back out and do some newer stuff. And so we tag team. We did that 3. It was very special, and chance of a lifetime for fans to see something kind of odd like that.
Yeah.
And I think that I would like to believe that they enjoyed that. And then the last night of the Armored Saint thing, the same kind of thing happened. And what was going on with Armored Saint is Bush was out there the whole time on the bus. I was with me and Bush were vocalizing, which was, I'll never forget this. I got to like warm up with one of my favorite singers, you know what I mean, and be there with the family of the Armored Saint family kind of thing. So it was really
I'd
great.
like to introduce to you
really great.
one of your favorite singers.
Yes.
Oh my God!
Surprise, Jason McMaster. Surprise, only on the Monsters of Rock cruise can you make this reunion happen.
I know.
He spoke your name, so I figured I'd get
That was
up
like
here.
magic.
They were asking me about the you know what, and
I was listening.
Yeah.
I was eavesdropping.
yeah, you were.
You did good. I was waiting for you to dog me, and you didn't.
No.
You should have heard the
you-
shit he was talking about you when you before you
I
walked in the
heard
room.
it seconds before.
John likes my comedy better than my voice.
I did not say that. I said equally as good. That's how good of a comic
Oh,
you are.
wow,
Because
okay.
you're that rad of a singer.
Oh, you need to ask these guys about the comedy, though. They're the comedy.
They were amazing. Both these guys were awesome last night.
Thank you, John.
I was just saying that I got to do things that I never thought I'd be able to do. Is like warm up with you and talk about your approach and everything. But then, but just to kind of, and from my experience, I thought they were asking me about, because I was nervous. Remember how like kind of freaked out? It's like, man, when I go see Armored Saint, I want to see John Bush. I don't want to see some redheaded Texas asshole come up here and fake his way through the shit.
Well, you know what?
I'm sorry.
What we did, we came to the conclusion that it's best if I actually introduced the band. So I kind of went out there and said, hey, I'm not doing well, but we got Jason here. He's going to kill you. And people knew by that point already. And then I would go in the crowd and watch, which was extremely surreal for me to be watching the band that I've been in for all these years, and watching this guy tear it up. I mean, there was a part to me I was like, damn, I was like kind of a little jealous, and very, very warm reception by our fans for Jason, and which is, you know, an awesome accolades to you. So.
There was some emotional moments. Also as well. So.
Well, let's Dangerous Toys. What's going on going forward here? How often do you fire these guys up now?
The toys.
Aren't you singing Dirty Looks too?
Yeah, I've been fronting Broken Teeth, Broken Teeth is writing, Toys are writing. No, not doing the. I hadn't done the. Well, we played once last year, so it's just when.
So you only have 3 bands going now.
Well, there's tons of projects.
And then the onesies in the
so
bullpen.
many, so many different things going on. I don't want to take up too much time.
But we are doing a couple shows too together, Florentine and Dangerous.
Yeah, we are. They're on their headline after the Queensryche leg is. They're doing a bunch of Armored Saints doing a bunch of headline stuff, and the Toys are opening 2 Texas shows in Austin and Dallas.
Well, co-headline.
Co-headlining.
Wow, we just have to make our way back.
You guys should switch bands. You sing for Dangerous Toys.
All right, I'm going to start working on Sporting a Woody.
Yeah.
Get some tight pants on.
And also learning the songs. Jason, we'll let you get on with your day, and we're going to bring in
Cool,
John
thanks.
and Johnny.
Thanks,
So,
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for
Thanks,
coming
guys.
Cool. Thank
Thanks,
you, Jason.
The
Yeah,
wee hours
thanks.
of 11:30 in the morning. It's
Thanks, John.
Big ass.
See you, brother.
Yep.
On the
Cool.
ship. Thank you, man.
Yeah, I forgot John Bush snuck in there, but we talked to him and Joey. I'm sure we filmed with him just after that. But yeah, I mean, what can we say? I think you and I've known Jason since before even that metal show, and he's just such a solid dude, man.
Yeah, he's a great guy, man. And that Broken Teeth stuff is great.
It's so good, man. I told him, he has a great podcast called Talk Louder. It's him and his buddy David Glessner. And I told him on that, I did it, to promote my new album. And I go, you guys Broken Teeth did the best Motorhead tribute after Lemmy died. And it's called Never Dead. And so if you guys should look that up, if you don't have the Broken Teeth album with that song on it, but it's just killer, man. So he's just the real deal. And when we talk about these guys filling in for this one, for that one, 90% of it is the hang. Is that guy a good hang? Can we hang out with that dude? And that's why Jason gets asked a lot of times, to do stuff, because they know he's just cool to be around.
Yeah, exactly.
I missed that comment.
Brian, hey, what's going on, man? Smash that like, subscriber. Yeah.
Dear Jim Flo. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know why people have to say smash the like button. I just can't touch it. Can I just hit the key on there?
No, you have to take a sledge.
I guess smash with what?
Yeah.
Go get a hammer? It's going to fuck up my laptop, so I don't know how. I'd rather just, hit the like button.
Yeah, but it's better if you could smash it.
That's true. I mean, it makes it, then you're like, if they say smash it, now I have to.
Yeah.
They just say, hit the like button. That's, I'm like, maybe I won't.
Yeah. I think it's like leaving a 5-star rating. You really gotta hit it hard. Otherwise it doesn't count. I like to get a nice full erection and hit the subscribe button with my helmet.
Smash it. Smash the helmet on the like button.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I do. I don't know how anybody else does it, but.
Well, one guy started that, or some YouTuber or whatever started that smash, and then everyone started saying it's some popular YouTuber, and it's like everybody doesn't need to say that.
No.
Hey, hit the like button. It helps with the algorithm. That's all you got to say.
Right, and everybody knows already how to do that. So, and we want to thank the members as well, they're going to get a little bonus show right after this. But let's do our plugs and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, well,
you and I got gigs.
We still got That Rocks T-shirts.
Okay.
The link is right under the video here. The link to the T-shirts. We got 3X. We got 3X, 2X, XL, large, medium, whatever. So get your That Rocks T-shirt. Me and Don are going to be in Kenosha, Wisconsin on August 3rd. It's the Tribute Island. It's called a bunch of tribute bands from the Midwest playing all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're doing a comedy show there Saturday night. We'll also be introducing the bands. There's a lot of hard rock and metal bands. I've done it the last couple of years. Some great friggin' AC/DC bands, Sabbath, Maiden bands, and shit. So come out to Kenosha, Wisconsin, August 3rd, Tribute Island weekend. Me and Don will be there. And then this weekend,
this is
Saturday, July
night.
20th. Yeah. We're at I don't know, what's the place called?
It's called Helltown Tap Room in Butler, Pennsylvania. Yes, that Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. How crazy is that? A week later, we're doing shows in that same little town. July 20th, this Saturday night.
Hopefully they don't hate all Donalds out there, because I'll be doing my act in a Kevlar vest if you come to the Helltown Tap Room this Saturday night. And then Sunday night, also in Pennsylvania, in Granville, PA, at Laughing Stock Comedy Club. That was the other graphic that was up there before. Early show, because it's a Sunday, people. 6:30 p.m. Come on down. We'll do some day drinking. We'll tell.
That's in Granville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so that's a good little area, man. It's near Hershey. There's a Hard Rock near there, casino and stuff. So there's a big outdoor venue there. I saw Seven Dust and Alter Bridge out there with Wolfgang. So people in that area, come on out to Laughing Stock Comedy Club, laughingstockcc.com. And that's it.
That's it. Yeah. All right. So any of the members, we appreciate you guys being members, and we're going to be a member show in just like 2 or 3 minutes. So pop in. We'll take your questions, fuck around in there and all that stuff. So for the rest of you guys, we'll see you soon. You could join as a member. Hit the fucking link thing right there. And
smash the link.
Yeah, smash the link.
With your penis.